The following trailer is rated H for honest. In a world of endless warfare, powerful accessories, and deadly self-seriousness, return some Ordor to Mordor once again as fantasy Batman. And take another giant steaming dump on the lore of the rings. Middle-earth, Shadow of War. Bask in the painstaking recreation of the New Jersey of Tolkien's Middle-earth, Mordor, as you conquer the many blasted hellscapes with new and improved immortal ghost powers that will have you zooming across the map, double jumping, exploding, ghost murdering, and enslaving your enemies in a perpetual smorgasbord of brutal slaughter and race-based servitude that somehow still thinks that you're the good guy at the end. This is okay because they don't look like me. Step into the boots and battle skirt of Talion once again, a dollar store Aragorn with his own magic ring and an angry ghost dad sidekick, whose entire motivation for conquering Mordor is one momentary flashback from the original. And he's bringing along a handful of non-canon companions, like the strong black and female characters Tolkien never wrote, a giant spider they made into a goth lady cause video games, and the Jar Jar Binks of the Lord of the Rings, Gollum. Prepare for uninspired missions that are way less interesting than the open-world gameplay, and a story that's about as true to the source material as the Lord of the Rings slot machines, as it desperately tries to justify its own dubious branding. When really this would make a lot more sense if it was Game of Thrones and all the orc captains you beheaded were Freys and Lannisters. Get on that, WB. Slice into the new chunks of gameplay in this sequel, if you consider an ass pile of new menus and interfaces gameplay. From an elaborate skill tree with upgrades for every ability, to armor and weapons with their own individual quests, socketed with gems that have their own upgrade system, and extremely detailed lists of orc strengths and weaknesses that you can examine to plan your attacks and defenses in such depth that you won't even realize you spent the last half hour not playing the video game. Discover the true core of the Shadow games, the Nemesis system, an elaborate AI system that gives each orc captain a unique personality, like Angry Cockney Orc, other Angry Cockney Orc, this guy who just screams at you, and Kumail Nanjiani.
I am going to have your head. I don't know what I'll do with it when I have it.
And creates engaging player stories and interesting characters with procedural generation. Then lets you turn them into your mind slaves in the ugliest game of Pokemon ever created. Then rally your soldiers for all-out assaults in the new Siege mode. Giant, impressive-looking battles that mostly boil down to capturing a few points, then killing a captain, where you'll accidentally undermine the game's climactic battles by killing or turning everyone before you even show up, making them feel less like sieges and more like really elaborate evictions. Once you've conquered all the castles and beaten the story, get ready for the suspiciously long Shadow Wars mode, where you'll defend your forts over and over again from increasingly powerful waves of enemies, forcing you to spend hours shoring up your defenses and capturing new orcs, all while fighting the sneaking suspicion that this entire section exists to sell you loot boxes for real money, or until you do the same thing and just quit and watch the ending on YouTube. So whip out your spooky ghost bow and get ready to brutalize some lesser races in an open-world colonial simulator that's pretty solid until it wears out its welcome and tries to turn your twin loves for fantasy and guilt-free murder into a machine that prints American dollars. Joke's on you, WB. I'm just gonna grind for 200 hours instead. Haha, I win. I'm the winner. Starring Barely Theragorn, the Ghost of Murders Past, Sir Valium, Lady Who Cares, Shalob's Web, Ratbag in the Big City, You Bruise, You Lose, Bargain Bin Sauron, Mace Windude, and Young Sheldon. Middling Earth, Shadow of the Loot Box. So the Balrog is cool and all, but the fight would have been way more exciting if it wasn't just us giving it acupuncture. Comment below on what you want me to read in my epic voice. Man's not hot. Hazama is best snack boy. What would Brian Boitano do? I'm gonna laugh when your ass is kicked by Smokey the Bear.